Welcome to East Coast DNA. I'm your host, Darcy Walsh, and longtime viewers would definitely know who today's guests are. But as I've had quite a few episodes out this year, it's a higher volume than normal. I seem to have somewhere along the line acquired a lot of new and, let's say, younger viewers. So there might be some people that are, no offense,
Yeah,
they might
none
not be
taken.
100%.
None
So
taken.
let's let's school them a little bit here. So if we go back for myself in podcasting, back in the early days, Kim was one of my very first interviews, and for in-person interviews too. Back in that day, I knew how to talk. That was just about it. I guess I could research. So I had those two things going, and I was a big fan. So very, very early days. So I always appreciate the early support. And the band Like a Motorcycle, I'm sure many people are familiar with, and whether they realize or not, we've got two members of the band here. So I don't want to spend too long on Like a Motorcycle. That's now no longer a thing, and I've actually covered it quite a bit. Not the last days of the band, but definitely in the middle ground. Not the super early days, but we touched point on it. And I definitely feel like there's a little bit of a time capsule in some of the content out there. So if
Totally.
anyone's curious about the band, they could probably go dig into that. And the earlier interview with Kim was actually under Jam Sessions, and that's still available online as well. Jeff's still active, just a random episode here and there, but he's been more active this year than usual as well. So definitely recommend people check that out if they're interested in doing a deeper dive. But now, for myself personally, uh, Kim and Jillian both, I have had quite a few conversations with you over the years, and it's been a little while since we've caught up. So
Right.
just as we were starting the call, I think we all kind of wanted to have a separate call just to catch up outside of the interview. But I definitely want to touch on your project, We Should Have Been Plumbers, and the fact that it's back. That was another thing that was in the early days of this podcast. You were one of the first bands that we featured.
Nice.
So that's definitely you both have a special place in my heart, and
Aw.
in relation to everything that I do, you've definitely were part of the foundation that I kind of built everything else from.
I love
Uh,
that.
having established people uh, play with my toys was actually helpful in getting new people to come over as well. So thank you
Totally.
both for that. But I really want to dig into people that already are aware of the project from the original release that you had out. You did
Mhm.
have a follow-up single that was a cover, and now you're back with a different approach in many, many ways. And so
Every
I
time.
there's a few things I want to dig on. So first of all, for anyone that's wondering why I'm dressed like this, there's a couple quick little things that I wanted to shout out here too. The album covers that you have for your singles are like thrift store outfit,
Nice.
like haven. So this is exactly what I'm wearing, but it's also dual purpose because I've been wanting to find excuses to use this outfit. It was worn on a music video shoot, and my scene was cut in editing. So it's
Oh no.
I wore this
Sin.
out in a park all day,
On the
and
cutting room floor.
yeah, I had a great time, but it's never actually got used. So as I was researching, the visual is in my head, and just before we recorded, I was like, I know what I should do. So I went and put it on just so I could get some screen time with it.
Yeah. You look
And
great. You
the
do look
coiffed
great.
hair, the coiffed hair, I usually have a my ball cap on so that I'm doing full branding as well. Like I got my
Uh-huh.
logo and everything.
Yeah.
But in that early interview with Kim, Jeff had the camera on this weird angle, and I just came from the beach, and it like really highlighted my scalp. So I pretty much looked like I had some kind of weird disease where my hair was all falling out.
Oh.
So I wanted to make sure that I did this right for the Kim fans out there.
Right. Yeah, look, we can't let them,
No,
think you got weird hair.
they got to know. They got to know I can grow hair. So now that we've given a shout out to the Kim fans, I think I'm going to start with Jillian for questions because I do have a
Sure.
few separate questions.
Yeah, sure.
So
Let's go.
last we spoke, you were in Vermont, I believe.
Hmm.
So are you
Still
still
am.
there? You
Still
still
am.
are. Are you allowed to come visit? Are you allowed to answer that question? Maybe you're not allowed to even answer the question.
You know what?
I
We
don't
can,
know.
yeah, I think we can bypass that one if you like.
Yeah, yeah, let's do that.
I mean,
So
just for the record, yes, I can come back and forth.
perfect.
It's a
So
nuance, but
I hope to see you up here in the future.
I did
Um,
come to see Kim. We
Same.
went I
Yeah.
we
Amazing.
went to Nova Scotia Music Week together, so
Oh, well, that's the one that I missed. So
I'm
there you
so
go. Of
sorry.
course. No, I think I was aware of it too. I just had other things going on at the time.
Yeah.
So that's shame on me for that one. Now you're motivating me to go to the one this year. So
Totally.
I guess win-win. So we'll definitely apply some pressure in the future, see if we can get you back up here for that. But for recording the new, I'm going to call it project. As I
Mm,
said, album cover, but you took a different approach because it's really the same name,
hmm
but two parts.
hmm
So the side A, side B part of the naming makes me think of cassettes, of course,
Yeah.
or vinyl.
Yep.
So you're definitely hearkening to a lot of old throwback stuff
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
But the approach to release a digital single that's really two parts, it's a different, it's like a concept album
I
in
love
a,
that you're asking this because this is the conversation Kim and I have had like 100 times where we're just
okay.
we don't know
So
what this is.
I
We
feel
don't know how
like
to call this. We're
it's
like, is
not
it
like
a
a
single? Well, it's not
45.
really a single. It's two songs. It's not
Yeah.
long enough to be an EP.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a body of work. It's two things that go together and are two sides of the same coin. So
We
yeah,
need a word because we had singles. Like I know you're probably thinking more like 45 with the A and B,
that's literally yeah.
but
Yeah.
I went single in my head just from my retail days that actually overlapped. At one point, I worked at a store where we sold singles.
Yeah. Oh,
So
well,
it
I
was
have
the
a
I
same.
question
I
here.
have a couple of singles.
There you
I was
go.
just gonna ask him, do you want to show him?
Mm,
Oh, yeah.
Because it's
This is
actually
awesome.
pressed if you want to see
yeah.
it.
It's,
Amazing.
so our friend Andrew Gagne, he has like a little vinyl lathe that you kind of do in real time. So
Oh, wow.
here we go. Side B, side A. So it
That's
is,
amazing.
yeah, we just got these little 45s done. So yeah, they're going to be available really soon.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're just keeping me excited here today.
That's the
So
first time we've shown anyone.
Yeah, that's the first time anyone's seen that.
that's amazing. I do appreciate that. I really do. And the nerd part of me just wants to know how much money you want right now. But
We'll
how
talk.
did you come up with the concept? Like obviously, like you said you talked about it a lot, but
Yeah.
besides trying to categorize it, originally you had a concept, like
Yeah,
without a
well, I'll tell
name.
I'll
So,
tell you, like, I think I think, and Kim can correct me if she feels any differently, but I think that we had written a couple of songs that we'd been working on for a while. Just these, and they were two, as you can tell, they're a bit heavier, a bit faster. They're kind of a hark back to when we played in a punk rock band together. Like they're a little closer to that than they were to the first like release that we did, that's
hmm
self-titled. So we had these two songs, and it's interesting because I actually went in the process of making those songs and actually like mixing them and stuff with Dave Casey. I went back for Nova Scotia Music Week, and Kim and I sat in a room and we wrote some more songs. But the songs we wrote there that we're gonna start working on soon, they sound nothing like these two. It's also something very different once again, and I think it's going to be very different from both things we've released so far. So it just seemed like number one, these two songs really just went together. Like they were made in the same time period. They had the same vibe, even though one's significantly faster than the other. They still had something similar. And also with the way that Kim wrote, and I'll let her speak to this, but the way that Kim wrote the lyrics and the story itself of the singles, that came from Kim, and they're cohesive in a way that came from Kim's brain. So I might let her address that. But
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it. I think to kind of circle back to you're kind of saying like how did you sort of conceptualize this? I think it's like the concept kind of came, you know, like the ideas sort of were there first, and then
Hmm.
I think then you kind of realize, oh, okay, like Jill said, these two songs go together. Um, when I was working on the lyrics, I wanted there to be like this thread, and it just happened to sort of work really well where okay, now we have this thing that is a side A side B, they can have the same title, both songs are about someone living a life of crime, and they're sort of from two different like economics perspectives. One is like, I mean, I can just tell you what they're about. I can ruin the whole thing right now if we want. One side A is about a time that I worked in like a gas station convenience store, and someone stood me up with a knife and robbed me, and I later like pick them out of like a photo lineup. That's kind of, it's like an embellished sort of story. So that's a true story. And then side B is Tony Soprano talking to Carmela. And so it's a fictional life of crime, but kind of from like this, you know, his story is from a point of you know, excess and privilege, and the side A story is kind of from like a point of desperation and, you know, yeah, like need, I guess. So yeah, it's kind of like again with the side A side B, they sort of ended up being two sides of the same coin, um, literally and now figuratively. So, but
mm,
it kind of just sort of fell in our lap a little bit as we were working on it. It wasn't like a really
we didn't plan it from the
well
start. Yeah.
executed, and that's why sort of when we got to the part where we were like, okay, we're going to release this, it was actually like really confusing to figure out like how we were going to do it, and like yeah, to release something that has the same title, side A side B, like into the streaming world. It couldn't be an EP, and like just getting the names to line up properly. Like yeah, it was like a weird thing, and we kind of just decided, fuck it, let's just do it. It'll be two singles. They'll come out at the same day. You know, we toyed with doing one at a time, and then we were like, well, that doesn't make any sense either. So yeah, it kind of just organically happened, and yeah,
It's very punk. Like even outside of the music, just the whole idea of how it happened and the fucking attitude of just I'm gonna do it the way that it happened anyway, even if it's not the way you're supposed to do things, which I
Totally.
mean that's what I think the majority of the people that are on this show have that approach. So I mean, we use the term punk, which is also a genre, but it's that kind of DIY punk attitude definitely comes across in that approach as well. Now, the punk genre piece. Now, I know that Jillian does DJ work as well, so there was a lot of that influence in the early material.
Hmm?
And now we're very much back into what you were both doing before.
Yeah.
And you've already mentioned Dave,
Mhm.
mm,
but you also had Claire in on drums for this as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
totally.
So, I mean, like, there's a little bit of a mini reunion going on there with a lot of members. So,
yeah,
It felt familial. Yes,
yeah.
totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
was it, I don't know how to word this properly, but was it more that you had all the same people in the room that kind of led back to like over all those pieces bringing you back to that punk sound? Or was it a conscious choice
I
to
don't
go
know.
that
Like
way?
I wouldn't necessarily say that that's what caused it, but I think that that's how we celebrated it.
Yeah.
Like the truth is Kim and I both have a punk rock animal inside of us.
Hmm.
And sometimes that punk rock animal is like writing the songs and sometimes it's not, you know?
Yeah, sometimes it's
So
COVID and you're depressed. What are you
yeah,
gonna
Yeah.
do?
literally. That's
Yeah.
like I think I do remember when we wrote one of these songs, I forget which one it was, when I had sent Kim a couple of riffs. And I do remember um one of those early conversations in the writing where I don't know exactly how you said it, Kim, but essentially the sentiment was just like, I'm ready to write a song like this again or something like that. Like we were just like in that frame of mind where it was like, yeah, like it might be feel good to go, ugh, and just like let something out kind of thing. And it's an energetic release as well, which I like beautiful, slower songs. I like what we've done before. But like something I do really miss, like I miss playing live. I miss being in a punk band often. Like I just because of the sheer release of energy that you get to do by playing songs like this. And even though I haven't gotten to play these songs live, writing them and screaming the lyrics and recording vocals and stuff was just awesome. It felt awesome for me, so I was really happy to revisit the sound. But I would say that we wrote them, and once they were written, then we were like, well, should we have like our close friends be a part of it? And that's Claire and Dave, basically, just a couple of people within our circle that are accessible because of existing relationships, right? So that just felt normal and right, I guess.
Right. I was a little surprised to hear that it went that direction, but I was also happy that it went in that direction because I really enjoyed it.
Hmm.
I do know that like there's a little bit of a different tempo to each, and we kind of already dug into the narrative piece of it. But I did mention the album covers as well.
Hmm.
You are both visual people as well when it comes to your art.
Hmm.
So, like outside of it just being the music piece, there's a whole other artistic piece to it as well.
Hmm.
So, is there anything as far as like music video we want to send people out looking for, or do you have any other merch outside of the coming 45 or something that we should look for?
Merch? No, I think we're just kind of keeping it pretty simple right now, like kind of just talking about that whole punk sort of thing. I think we just wanted to do this like really DIY
Hmm.
because well, like you said, it's like the reason we could do it and put out two songs and call it a day is because nobody's telling us what to do. And there's no label or management saying, like, well, you have to have an album and it's, because come award season, you got to get not, that's great. We did that for years, you know what I mean? But I think when you're just, and I think for me anyway, like since, coming out of like a motorcycle and just trying to figure out, what I'm going to do now, I think you don't want to do anything you don't want to do. Like that's
Hmm.
just kind of how I feel right now. So we just are kind of making decisions on the fly, and if when we're happy with them, we are going to put something out. And I just feel like
Totally.
that's kind of how we're rolling right now. And
Yeah.
of course things can change, but there's a lot of freedom um, in a situation like this. And yeah, like I can ask our friend Claire to play the drums, and if they say yes, great. You know, we can go to the studio, Ocean Floor, where Dave works, and just go in there and spend a day and like have a good time. And there's no one, the clock's not ticking.
Hmm.
There's no one breathing down your neck. There's no one saying try. It's just people being creative and having a good time. And I think for everyone involved in this project, that was really cathartic. And so I think when you just lean into that, sometimes you don't get what you were expecting to get, but I think you
Yeah.
always get like the best you can get out of people.
I definitely find if I'm working under those conditions, which I don't always have the opportunity to do, but when I am working under those conditions, definitely the volume of my output is increased because I'm more apt to keep at it.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's probably some kind of personality disorder that we share. I don't know. I don't like being told what to do. If you leave me
Yeah.
alone, I'll go
Exactly.
do it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
if you tell me to do it, I
exactly.
probably find a way to not do that
Well,
thing.
and with Kim and I, and I think we said this to you, I'm sure, in our first interview about that first release is just like the whole point of this is not telling even each other what to do.
Hmm.
And I think we're both like, we're just fully happy with that. Like, it's like, we'll have a conversation, and sometimes we'll talk for a few days in a row, and other times there might be a week or more, or 2 weeks in between, just because we're living our lives, and we got jobs and
Hmm.
partners and things to do and stuff like that. But like when we come to it, it's 100% a choice. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like it's a choice that we're choosing, and every step of it is done in good time. Like in good time when we're ready to do it and when we have the capacity and the energy and the excitement for it. So I think that
Mhm.
that's kind of like this most special part of this project for me anyway.
Yeah. Well, no one's phoning it in, right? Like
Hmm.
you're
Yeah.
doing it's not like, oh, I have to do this thing today. It's like today I feel like doing this thing, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's like, of course it's not going to work in every situation. I'm not
No.
saying everyone should throw their hands up and
No,
just
no,
do
no.
whatever they want.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying at all, but I think, the spirit of this project
Yeah.
is a little different.
Yeah.
In one part because we do live far away, and we're not going to be a touring band, so it really is like a passion project, and it leaves us a lot of room, I think, for creativity, but also just for to do whatever we want.
Yeah,
um,
I mean, we just like writing songs together, so like we'll
Hmm.
continue to do that even if nobody hears it. It's just funny that like when we do it, we just get really excited, and
yeah.
we're like, oh, this is kind of awesome. Like let's record this. This is actually pretty good. So that's kind of how this keeps happening. But like we'll do it regardless of whether it's released or not. Like, you know.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to see it live, and I'm a huge fan of live music, I have to admit, I constantly say that on the other side of this camera, there's a big collection of physical media, and that probably half of it is artists that you're never going to see perform those
Yeah, that's
songs
right.
live because it's
Yeah.
like the weird, bizarre side projects or like really like old bands that were together for like a couple weeks and they just happened to record something before they broke up
Totally.
or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah.
Totally.
So I mean like that is what I collect. So
Mhm.
despite always being at live shows, my first question is always like when are you going to perform live? But I realize logistically that's not
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
in
I
the
mean, I
cards most
actually
times.
trust that we will at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
trust that there'll be a moment at some point where we're in a place long enough that it's easy to throw. Like we both, we're both good enough because we've been doing it for years that we're able to learn things quickly and put together a set pretty quickly. Like if I was there for a couple of weeks, we could make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more or less just like whenever that window of time presents itself, when
Mhm.
it works for everyone involved, I do believe it'll happen. It's just not something that we're too concerned with at the moment.
It makes it better in a way, despite the fact that I want an answer and I want you to be able to tell people and I want to write it on the calendar. Like I want that, but in reality, I mean, our society's changed so
Mhm.
much. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's right.
think about the early days of you playing music versus now. Like things have changed. It's instant gratification all the time. Like and
Yeah.
somebody could say, I started a band today and I'm listening to them on Spotify like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah, that's
really could
right.
happen
That's
that
the
Yeah.
quick.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Very
I
real.
as much as I want it to be different, I do appreciate that you're just letting it happen the way it happens organically because we
Yeah.
do kind of miss that in the digital era.
Hmm.
So it is
Yeah.
nice to see people still doing that.
Totally.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Now, I do want to ask a couple other questions specifically about the project, but before I get too far, I had mentioned early on too that there would be at least a percentage of viewers that are newer artists out there, people that are
Mhm.
just coming on the scene, and various age groups. There is a lot of younger viewers, but I have always had a variety for the demographics watching these shows. So I'm curious for anyone that's kind of entering the scene, let's say. I know that you would have varied opinions on different industry things, but just in general,
Because
starting off.
I'm
Well, I know that like Jillian, at one point you stepped back because of the touring,
Yes. Yeah.
um, and I know that both of you had like genre changes, lineup changes. Like
Hmm.
there's been a lot of that over the years that you have that wisdom now
Hmm.
of kind of looking back.
Yeah.
So, do
Mm.
you have anything that maybe rather than speaking blindly to a group of people you don't know, if you could go back and give yourself like a line or two of advice
Wow.
in the early days, is there anything that you would like to kind of give yourself a little steer you in a different direction?
I want to hear what Kim's answer is to this.
I think for me, one thing I wished I did when I was younger was sought out the help of more experienced people, or not necessarily just musicians, but like industry people, and like
Hmm.
use those resources that a lot of times were right in front of me, or I did have. I think I wish I had like, you know, dug in a little more, learned a little more from them. I think you've for me, I think when you're younger, I think you obviously you don't have any hindsight, but you think you kind of, well, I'll figure it out, or I'll figure it out
Hmm.
later, or like or someone's taking care of that for me right now, so it doesn't matter. And I think then kind of what happens is you wake up and you're a bit older, and maybe all the, you're not in the same situation you were in anymore, and you're like, oh shit, now I have to like figure these things out for myself, and that can like set you back a few paces sometimes.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think I just wish I had maybe like there was a lot of people around in those early days who were eager to help, and I wish I'd maybe hadn't had so much pride, and learned a little bit more from them. I think it could have saved me a lot of grief down the road.
Yeah, that probably is. I I'm a little bit of a people watcher, which is probably why I fell into podcasting.
Yeah,
But
checks out.
I notice things when I'm in those environments too, that like people that are novice maybe, and
Yeah.
there's a couple times where I'm like, do you know who you're sitting with?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, totally.
so yeah, I can kind of see how that would be something. And I mean, it's obviously just good advice in general to a lot of artists that have been on that have asked similar questions have just said to ask questions. Like
Mm.
it doesn't matter who you're talking to. If
Yeah,
somebody
it's just
knows something, ask them.
right.
Mhm.
And when you hit those problems, like don't like I think for me, I was like, oh, I felt embarrassed to maybe like say, like, I don't know how to fill out this tax return, or I don't know how to
Hmm.
do this. And then you like struggle your way through it, when like in reality, if you just went to someone and said, I can't do this,
Yeah,
like someone would help you, like 100%, And I think, yeah, just like you always, when you're young, you just kind of want to, you don't want to worry about that kind of stuff. You want to feel like you got it all together, like, or that it'll just like work itself out. It's like, I think it's just good to take a beat sometimes and say, like, what do I actually have to do right now to sort of like keep this train on the rails?
yeah,
Because yeah.
absolutely. And Jillian, you had a little bit of time to think about it, so I think you're
Yeah,
cheating, and I
I
think
don't know. Like
you're on ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Come up with something quick. Um, it's hard. Like I think, like as I was trying to think as she was talking to, and I think like it's our situation is our own, and the band we played in is our own, and that's not going to be identical to anybody else's experience. But in just
That's right.
talking to myself, I find that I'm a bit torn because on the one hand, I think some of the advice that I'd want to offer myself, I almost wouldn't want to say because the experience we had was beautiful in a lot of moments because we were off the rails, you
Yeah,
know?
that's yeah.
Hmm.
Whereas like I could very easily just say like pull the party back a little bit, guys.
Yeah.
And almost build off of what Kim said, where it's like pull the party back and maybe realize all the phenomenal resources that are around you, like, like record label folks that are like helping you from other places and like just lots of like a wealth of knowledge and help. But like I couldn't see past the good time of it usually to even like I mean I think we thought about that in moments, but at the same time, like most of the time it was just like living the punk and punk rock and roll dream of just like cutting loose and going and stuff, but I don't know that I'd want to change any of it either. I think that people come out of that young, loose time with a lot of lessons that you learn about, like, you
Hmm.
know what your limits are.
Mm.
Maybe you went past them a little bit, you learned lessons. And people sometimes get hurt in those processes, but at the same time, I think that experience made us who we are now.
Oh,
Um,
totally. I mean, I would
so
agree.
yeah,
Like,
like I just don't
have
know if
any
I have any
regrets,
advice. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think if I saw a young band doing the same thing and starting the same way, I don't know that I'd even try to tell them anything. I'd probably just be like, they'll figure it out. And if they ask, sure, you can tell them what you went through, but like, I don't think I'd be the person doling out that advice,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
teaching
fair.
anything.
Mhm.
That's
I don't know.
fair. That, and as I mentioned, as watching some of it, it's not like I've gone up and tapped. So I've maybe offered a word or two of advice to somebody that sat down for a chat, but
Mm,
I
of course. Yeah. Well, that's like a
don't
shared
often go with the judgment. That's for sure.
Mm.
totally. Yeah.
I think that's probably from my own point of view too, is as far as the wisdom that I've gained is that despite knowing I was right all the time, sometimes my opinion doesn't matter. So other people can be right as equally as I am right. That
That's
is
right.
why we live
That's
in a
right.
free country. So the band itself or the project, I don't know which way we should really refer to it. Moving forward, you don't really know. It sounds like there is no necessary game plan. It's going to be kind of if something inspires you.
I mean, there's more songs.
Okay,
There's songs in the chamber.
good,
So, and I don't know, like four or five of them
amazing.
that are in the works. So I have a feeling, and this is vague that I've not even said to Kim, but I have a feeling the next offering would probably be closer to the length of the first one, but it depends on how it goes. Like
Yeah,
if
And
we
we
start
could
working on
also finish all those songs, decide we hate them, and
exactly.
never look at them again,
I
because
was
that's
just gonna
happened
say.
before too.
We have three or four songs that got pretty far along in the production process and are just like in a closet now and they're not coming out. So yeah, I guess it depends on how it feels, but we'll see.
I definitely have digital files of albums that are never going to see the light of the day from different artists.
Yeah.
So I hope that doesn't happen, but I understand that sometimes that's the way it goes.
We just don't want to
So
give you false hope, you know.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
You
But
said.
you are going to want people not just to go out and stream the song, but I'm sure to follow the journey in case there's new material in the future. So,
Mhm.
There will be. Yeah, totally.
where should people follow? Both of you, or
Yeah, so
we
we
should have
do
been plumbers?
have an Instagram. It's just at We Should Have Been Plumbers. But also, you can follow us both as well. My Instagram is what is it? Is it Motor Kim?
She-
It's at Motor Kim. And okay, laugh it up. What's yours, Jill?
I don't know, I gotta check.
Ah, amazing. Now, just
Hang on.
to bail you both out, when I originally interviewed Kim,
Hmm.
I had never used Instagram at
Yeah.
that point, and that was already a pretty heavily known thing out there. And I had to go around musicians going, so I'd like to interview you sometime. They're like, write me on IG, and I'm like, okay,
What's your Facebook?
yeah. So yeah, it's one of those other things that changes so constantly.
Mhm.
I'm sure it'll be something else in another 2 years.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
is your IG, Jill?
Oh, geez, I don't know. Like, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Um, so my Instagram, to give you a straightforward answer, is RD underscore LGHT. Said aloud, it would just be red light. That's my Instagram account as it looks right now. But I'm not doing a lot on there. I'm not posting a lot on there aside from sort of just
Fair.
pushing this single. So yeah. But feel free. Feel free, the more the merrier.
Amazing. Well, I'll definitely recommend that people do that. And I think I typically will play off with a song, but this year I've had so many episodes, I haven't always done it.
Hmm.
So you have one song that's two songs that's out there that's new.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you want to play off with something like that or if you want to play off with something earlier material.
Kim, you want to pick?
Oh God. I mean, yeah, let's go new. Let's go new material. What do you think? I think just side A, just give a little taste right off the
Go for it.
top, and
Go for it.
people like it, they can come find the other half.
Amazing. I like the idea of setting the temptation trap.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally.
All right. Well, let's play off with that now, and definitely want the two of you to keep in contact because I'm sure you have a lot more coming in the future, and I'm excited to follow the journey from my side as well.
Yeah,
Totally. It would be
me
nice to
too.
see you anytime.
Yeah, thank you
All
so
right.
much for having
Thank
us.
you.
It's been
Thanks
great.
again. We'll see everyone else soon.
All
Sounds
right.
great. Bye.
Hands up against the wall.